channel, DIY everything. So we got a fairly decent day today. Try to get as much of this fiberglass work done on the RV or on the motorhome before we head off to our property next week. So the point of the channel, and I've said this before, is for self-sustainability, to be able to handle things yourself on the minimum amount of resources available, making do with what you got, if not necessarily, and if you can't make do with what you got, then on the bare minimum, because my situation has made it to where I'm given no choice but to do that. So I decided to, make a channel around that. If you've watched earlier videos that I have, my wife and I walked away from our house in 2020. I think it was July. The first day we moved into our motorhome was July 2020. July 4th, 2020. I finished it up and we jumped in it. Not necessarily finished it up, but finished it up enough to where we could inhabit it. So we walked away from our house we were going back and forth through 2019 and into 2020. In 2017 we purchased a house infested with mold. It was making myself and my family sick, severely sick, and to the point of psychosis. And we didn't know what it was at first. It was just awful. If anybody's had experience with mold toxicity or black mold exposure, then you know what I'm talking about. I had no idea how serious it was at the time. So long story short, we were bouncing around in hotels. When we ran out of money, we would go back to the house and then stay there until we couldn't take it no more and go back to the hotel. So we purchased a motorhome for $5,000, a 91 Fleetwood Bounder. And it wasn't in terrible shape, but $5,000 for a motorhome, it wasn't great. So I redid the entire inside, painted everything, redid the floors, and my major concern on the exterior was delamination. I had severe delamination along the bottom edge all the way around. I haven't posted any videos on the repair of that yet, but I do have them. And they were repairs that I did in parking lots because we were basically living on the road. And they were with the minimum amount of tools and minimum amount of resources. Part of the repair that we're doing now is replacing all the zinc coated bolts and screws with stainless steel, because minimum we did what we had to do, and I couldn't afford stainless steel. Well, that started rusting and looking terrible, and after all that work I did, I couldn't leave it like that. So I decided to just replace it all with stainless steel while I have the ability to do so. And I had a couple, I wouldn't call them accidents, but a couple minor clips on the driver's side rear. I clipped a pole coming out of propane filling station, and put a crack down the side of the fiberglass exterior. So we're going to be repairing that and sealing it up before we leave. I had some can't remember the name of the tape, but it's like white tape. It's waterproof, and there might have even been an infomercial on it. But anyway, I used that to cover the crack just to keep it dry and keep it from molding, because that's the last thing I need is more mold. So I'm finally getting around to repairing that. And then on the driver's side rear, me and my son were driving to our property. I had to get propane at the last minute. I made a wrong turn. I ended up in Ohio, and I made a U-turn. When I made a U-turn, I clipped my bumper, clipped the sign, and whatever it did, it freaking peeled back my rear panel, the rear fiberglass panel, and cracked it around my tail light right here. So we're gonna repair that, do a fiberglass short strand filler repair. We're gonna use fiberglass resin behind here. I'm going to end up replacing these with some new LEDs that I found on Amazon that are the right size, but I ran short on funds at the moment because I'm trying to sink all my money into the, there you go, sinking all my money into the tools and the materials I need to build a cabin on our property, which is why we're heading there. But if you can see, I'm letting this dry out because it was a little moist, and you don't want to use I'm using fiberglass resin in here, and you don't want to really use that over top of a moist substrate. So I'm letting this thing dry out, and then we're going to seal that up. And there's the crack that once I pull it all back and fiberglass it, I'm going to fiberglass that, and then the final coating is going to be a gel coat. I also have a couple small cracks there, and there. We're going to use fiberglass body filler for all those, and then gel coat it. I have the gel coat. I'm probably not going to do that before we leave for the trip because that's just a lot. It's just a lot to ask for. I'll be stretching myself a little bit too thin if I try to do that before we leave. So I'd rather not, and just you know, do what I am comfortable, or that I know I can finish before we leave. Normally I stretch myself so thin before we make these trips that I'm exhausted while I'm there, and I'm not trying to go through that this time. I want a nice smooth roll. I changed my oil, changed my transmission fluid. I just got my fuel tank back in because I had to repair the fuel gauge. The sending unit had a broken wire in it. I soldered it back to the little circuit board that's inside the cup in the fuel pump, and it works great so far anyway. You get that. How I repaired the aluminum. I repaired the de-lamination along the bottom with aluminum originally, and I used the same fiberglass epoxy resin, painted it all up in there, and then clamped everything together with aluminum angle and aluminum straight bar behind it. This side I actually removed this entire wall on the inside, and that entire wall is new. That's just marine grade plywood in there, with painted with fiberglass epoxy resin all the way down. And that's what the bottom looks like. It all needs to be cleaned up, but it definitely did its job that I needed it to do. Sealed it all up and got it looking at least halfway decent. That's like a little repair patch I had to do on the corner. That was like that when I got it. There's my bumper broke. I had an aluminum bumper. The bumper when we got it was already clipped and bent, and then that's when this panel got damaged, had a hole in it. I replaced it with an aluminum bumper. I'm gonna have to weld that thing up, either that or try to find a replacement, but I'll probably just weld it up at some point. I gotta go get my welding bottle refilled before we go, because I have some welding I need to do on my tractor, on my loader. So I guess a lot of the video I'm gonna do is gonna be time lapse. I'm not gonna be explaining every step, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing, and when I can explain what I'm doing, I will. Another part of my channel is to try to keep things as short, as sweet, and simple as possible, because just try to get to the point. We're all short on time. It feels like time's going faster and faster every day. Nobody's got time to watch hour-long videos on a repair when you only need a certain aspect of the repair. I found myself in that predicament many times, so I'm trying to avoid that by making my videos short, sweet, and to the point as possible. I have a ton of content. My time is very short. I haven't had time to edit a lot of stuff and get it up yet. I only have a handful of videos right now. So yeah, if you would like to support the channel, I'll try to get my my PayPal link in the description. But it would help. You know, we have a large family. We have 6 kids. 4 of them live with us. One of them's a newborn baby, and we're trying to start our life over in a different way than before. I'm trying to figure out a way to live where I'm not working 70 hours a week away from my family and struggling every day, day in and day out. The kids are going kids were going crazy, family was falling apart, but we had money and we had everything we wanted. You know, I was an auto body technician. We're happier now broke when we're all together and I'm working from home than we ever were or could have been working my life away for somebody else. So we purchased a piece of property in West Virginia where we are we're going to try to homestead, or we are going to homestead. I'm going to build a cabin and we're going to work our land and homestead. We have a couple little side hustles that we do. We breed Savannah cats. We just had a terrible thing happen with one of our Savannah cats. She got out and someone took her to the Humane Society, and in 3 days the Humane Society spayed her. So that's like half of our income gone. So I'm trying to bounce back from that and figure out what we got to do to make up for it. But we just try to take it gracefully and keep it moving. We know God has a plan for us. So I want to thank him and thank you all for watching. And hopefully you learned something. My channel has a wide array of material. And the name speaks for itself. DIY everything. I do everything myself. I fix everything. I can build anything. I can fix anything. It's just trying to make money while doing it for myself can be a challenge. But that's another challenge that we're going to overcome. And I have faith that God's going to carry us through. And like my channel, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for what we have going on and what we've got coming out next.